The other day I was doom scrolling through Instagram and I came across consecutive reels that said the same thing. Essentially, these videos said that in the anime community, if you weren't watching anime before it was popular, you should not be able to check an OG's opinion or takes, and that you'd have to be an anime watcher for at least 10 years or something for your opinion to be considered solid or valuable. I'm just gonna say that I do not agree with this statement, and I say this as someone who has been watching anime since the early to mid 2000s. I don't think the anime community needs this kind of gatekeeping, and the length of time of being an anime fan shouldn't mean that everything you say is immune from any kind of criticism or healthy discussion. But look, the fact that I felt the need to mention that I've been an anime watcher since the early 2000s highlights this issue. Statements like that make me feel like people wouldn't respect my opinion if I hadn't said that. And to tell you the truth, I feel really bummed out with myself whenever I do this. This unconscious need to prove myself because otherwise I'd feel like people won't take my words seriously. And yes, I know this is an issue with myself and I am actively trying to fix this about myself. And this thing about anime gatekeeping reminds me of two things that have happened to me in the past. The first one's about gaming and the second one's about anime. So let me digress a bit for the first one. So some time ago I played Elden Ring. You've probably heard of it before. It's super popular and it's known for how difficult it is to play. I knew it was a good game and I intended to play it until I've seen everything it has to offer. So I knew for a fact that I was gonna play it again after finishing it the first time. But on my first playthrough, I played it based on how I felt like playing it. And then I figured I could just experiment or give myself a harder challenge on the second playthrough onwards. So there I was playing this game, I was having fun, but when I told a friend on how I defeated some bosses, he told me that I was playing the wrong way. I was like, why? Then he said, because you used summons. And for those who don't know, in the game, you have the option to summon an additional character or characters to help you out with bosses. This is a built-in game mechanic, yet I was criticized for using it as it makes the fights easier. And apparently this opinion is shared by quite a number of people online, and even a relative of mine as well. On my second playthrough, I eventually finished the game again without summons, as I initially intended. The extra challenge was indeed super duper fun, but ever since that interaction with my friend, I couldn't stop overthinking that people might think that I stopped using summons to prove myself. And this almost happened again with God of War Ragnarok. It's a great game and I enjoyed it, so naturally I wanted to talk about it. When I brought it up to my friend, the first thing he asked me was what difficulty I was playing it on. He said that if I didn't choose the hardest difficulty, it doesn't really count, and that I was depriving myself of the true God of War Ragnarok experience. But this time, this no longer bothered me. I don't think I missed out on anything by selecting just the second hardest difficulty option because I had tons of fun. Now imagine someone watching an anime not because this person finds it interesting, but just to be able to say, look, I watched the prerequisite show that'll make you respect me. Can we talk about the anime now? But of course, in general, you shouldn't care what other people think about you. But if the community has this reputation of gatekeeping anime from newcomers, I think it creates an environment where people would just not interact with the community at all. But before anything else, I want to say thank you for being here. You're the reason why I make this content, and reading your comments just makes my day every single time. If you're new here, I make videos about anime and maybe gaming too in the future, and I also make per episode anime reviews on shows that I'm watching right now. If you love talking about anime, make sure you're subscribed because it's much more fun to talk about anime with more people. For my second example, when I was still studying back in uni, I had this friend who had just watched classic shows like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, K-On!, and Samurai Champloo. These shows are some of my favorite ones of all time, and I used to watch these shows when I was a kid, both on TV and from bootleg DVDs that I'd beg my mom to buy for me. So I was naturally so excited to talk about these shows with my friend, but unfortunately he was more focused on establishing that it was him who knew about those shows first and that he was the reason that I knew about them. This one really bothered me because those shows hold such significance to me and my childhood. But ever since that, unfortunately, I went down the same pattern of unconsciously proving myself before I spoke about those shows. Like, I have to mention that I used to watch those shows as a kid before adding anything to the conversation. So imagine dropping a disclaimer on how long you've been an anime fan before participating in an anime discussion. Having had these bad experiences, I can't help but think that newcomers to anime would probably feel the same way if they're told that they're not on equal footing with the OGs during anime discussions. Yes, bad takes exist, but maybe some people have bad takes because they haven't seen all the really good shows yet. Maybe their takes are just different from yours, but it's valid for them based on specific past personal experiences. Everyone is different, and this is the beauty of being part of a community. We get to meet all sorts of interesting people with interesting stories to tell. But if you run into someone who just mimics what the internet says or is incapable of making their own opinions, I think it's just better to not interact with people like that in general. However, I will say that I understand why these statements are made in the first place, or at least I think I do. I acknowledge the fact that there was indeed a time when anime fans were bullied for liking anime. A time when it would be embarrassing to admit that you're watching it. But that's all in the past. I just want to make this video to do my part in letting people know that it doesn't matter how long you've been watching anime. What matters is whether or not you have something real and valuable to say about it. And with regards to that 10-year thing, that was roughly the time when anime skyrocketed in popularity because of Kimi no Na wa, or Your Name. I recall having conversations with my friends who said things like, you know, the person who used to bully me for watching anime just became a huge and vocal anime fan after watching that movie. I think that OGs should celebrate the fact that more people are becoming interested in anime. I know that there's an entirely different conversation to be had on the quality of anime that are specifically made for the mainstream, but if you ask me, a lot of animes are extremely good nowadays. One such anime is You and I Are Polar Opposites. Think about every single annoying or toxic trait or trope from a romance anime that you know, okay? Now imagine this show crushing all of that toxicity with the sheer amount of green flags that it has. I made a video on all of the green flags of that show, so click on the video on screen to check it out, and I'll catch you there. See ya.